Alucard, my friend, we need to talk about your choices. You've made some, let's call them interesting decisions, haven't you? You're powerful, no doubt about that. But here's the thing. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Trust me, I've seen this play out before. Angels, humans, even demons, they all fall into the same trap of thinking that power justifies everything. But does it really? You know, you remind me of a certain someone from a long time ago. His name was Lucifer. Bright, charismatic, full of potential. But boy, did he take a wrong turn. He was up there in heaven with us, had it all going for him, but decided that rebelling would be cooler. Well, you know how that turned out. It's kind of like deciding to throw away eternal bliss, because, hey, who wouldn't want to go rogue for a bit of chaos, right? Sound familiar? I get it. You've been around for a long time. The centuries stack up, and you start questioning, what's the point? The darkness gets tempting. It's easier to give in, to forget the light you once knew. But Alucard, the truth is, the darkness never satisfies. It's like a cheap thrill. You get a rush for a moment, but afterward, you're left empty. Look at your track record, my friend. Endless battles, bloodshed, walking through a storm of misery. Has it ever really brought you peace? Have you ever truly felt satisfied with it? You see, the problem with the path you're on is that it's all about destruction. You destroy your enemies, destroy those who cross you, and maybe you've even convinced yourself that you're doing them a favor, sparing them from the pain of existence. But deep down, you know that's just an excuse. You know it because you felt that pain yourself, haven't you? The darkness isn't a solution, it's a prison. And you, Alucard, have the keys to unlock that door anytime you want. Imagine this. Instead of being known as the bringer of death, what if you were known as the bringer of life? Instead of people fearing your name, they could call you a protector, a savior. Sounds strange, doesn't it? A vampire saving lives. But stranger things have happened. Trust me. And guess what? It's possible. All it takes is a shift in perspective. You've got that brooding anti-hero vibe down. I'll give you that. But don't you ever get tired of the whole tormented soul act? I mean, how many more centuries of this before you realize that maybe, just maybe, it's time to try something different? Something that doesn't involve leaving a trail of destruction in your wake. Look, I'm not saying you need to go full-on saint overnight. I mean, let's be realistic here. You've got a bit of baggage, and we're not going to pretend it's just going to disappear. But every journey starts with one step, Alucard. One step toward the light. It's not as scary as you think. Speaking of scary, you've faced some serious opponents, haven't you? Humans, ghouls, werewolves, even other vampires. You've wiped them out, one after the other. But what has it really done for you? Power, dominance, control. Yeah, you've had it all. But what's left when all your enemies are gone? You, sitting in the dark, alone, wondering what the point was. It's like this never-ending chess game where you keep winning, but the board just resets. Sure, you can keep playing, keep taking pieces off the board. But what if I told you there's a better game to play? One where you don't have to keep tearing down your opponents, but lifting them up. One where you create something meaningful, something lasting. Here's the thing, Alucard. Destruction is easy. Anyone can do that. But creating, building something worthwhile. Now that's where real strength lies. And you've got the power to do it. You've always had it. You just need to redirect it. I know you've been hurt. I know you've been betrayed. And the pain from that betrayal feels like it's burned into your soul. Believe me, I get it. I understand betrayal. One of my closest friends sold me out for a handful of coins. But you know what? That didn't stop me from loving, from forgiving. It didn't make me turn away from the light. If anything, it made me more committed to showing love, even to those who wronged me. You don't have to keep carrying that bitterness, that anger. It's weighing you down, chaining you to a cycle you don't have to be part of anymore. What if, instead of revenge, you tried something different? What if you forgave? What if you let go of the past and started focusing on building a future? One where you can make up for the wrongs. One where you can actually find peace. I can already hear you thinking, what peace? I'm a vampire. But let me tell you, Alucard, peace isn't about what you are. It's about who you choose to be. And I think you've got it in you to be something far greater than the darkness has ever allowed you to see. So, why not give it a shot? What have you got to lose? You've tried the path of destruction long enough. Maybe it's time to try the path of creation, the path of love. Who knows, you might just surprise yourself. Alucard, do you know what one of the greatest gifts is? Free will. The power to choose. You see, no one forces you to be who you are. Not me, not your enemies, not even the darkness you feel so drawn to. You are where you are because of choices. And here's the kicker. You can choose differently anytime you want. I know. Free will sounds like one of those concepts that's just thrown around in sermons, right? But it's much bigger than that. Free will is the difference between love and fear, between peace and chaos. It's the key to everything. Look at your life. Every time you made a choice, the world around you shifted just a little bit. Sometimes for the better, sometimes, well, not so much. But that's the beauty of it, Alucard. Your power isn't just in your strength or your immortality. It's in your ability to choose what to do with those gifts. You've been blessed with an incredible capacity to make decisions. Some of those decisions have brought you a great deal of power, but have any of them brought you happiness? Have any of them led to true peace? You see, the thing about free will is that it doesn't force you in any one direction. It's neutral. It simply asks, what will you do? And the answer to that is entirely up to you. That's where real strength comes from. Not in how many battles you've won or how many enemies you've slain, but in how wisely you use your freedom to choose. Free will is a gift, Alucard, but it's also a responsibility. Every choice you make has a ripple effect. Every action you take echoes into the lives of others. The question is, what kind of ripples are you creating? Are they ones that lead to destruction and fear? Or could they be ripples of hope, love, and redemption? You've always had the power to change things. But it's not just about power, is it? It's about direction. What are you directing your life toward? Look at me. I had the same free will as you. I could have chosen not to go to the cross, could have called down legions of angels to save me. But I didn't. Why? Because love is more powerful than fear. Love is what drives true strength. And love, Alucard, is the one thing the darkness can't understand. Free will doesn't just allow you to take power. It gives you the power to give. The power to choose love, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. I get it. You've chosen the darkness for so long, it seems like second nature. But that's all it is, a habit. And habits can be broken. It's never too late to choose a different path. It's never too late to choose the light. I've watched you, Alucard. Watched as you've struggled, as you've tried to convince yourself that you're just a force of destruction. But I see deeper. You're not just a creature of darkness. You were made with a soul, a heart that beats, even if it's hidden beneath layers of pain and centuries of bitterness. That heart still exists, and that means you still have the power to choose something different. You know, the darkness has this funny way of making you think that you have to keep choosing it, like it's the only option left. But that's the lie. That's the trap. You don't have to do anything. You always have the freedom to say, enough. You always have the freedom to turn around and choose life. Look at all the people who found their way back to the light, despite everything they've done. Saul, for instance. He persecuted my people, dragged them to prison, stood by while they were killed. But he had a moment where he chose differently. He didn't have to. No one forced him. But he did, and that choice changed the world. And Saul, he became Paul, one of my greatest apostles. Now I know what you're thinking. Yeah, but Saul wasn't a vampire. You're right, he wasn't. But here's the thing. The power of free will isn't limited by what you are. It's not about your species, your powers, or your past. It's about who you choose to be. It's about who you want to become. So what's stopping you, really? Fear, doubt, anger. Those are just excuses. And I'm telling you right now, you don't have to let them define you. You can choose something different. You can choose to start using your strength for something better. Something that heals instead of destroys. You've got it in you, Alucard. You've always had it in you. All it takes is one decision, one moment of clarity, one choice. And you know what? Choosing the good side doesn't have to be boring. You can still be the legendary Alucard, still be strong, still be powerful,